We're here with Hall of Famer, New York Giant, and first-class athlete, Harry CARSON. Harry, how you been? How's everything?
I'm
How's your
good.
health?
I'm good. I can't complain. Everything's good.
Harry, your thoughts on the retirement of Tom Brady?
It's interesting to see how he pushed himself to play at a high level for so long. But for everyone, there comes an end. And I remember one of the more wise things that Parcells instilled in me was, before anybody else when it's time to go. And I knew it was time to go after my 12th year, and I was like, let me get out of here, let me play one more year, and I announced it. With Tom Brady, he wasn't ready to go. And I don't blame him. If he can still play, go ahead and play. And he's not necessarily playing for the money. He's playing because he loves the game so much. So I'm happy to see him gracefully step away and move on to the next phase of his life.
Larry Holmes told me that the hardest thing for an athlete to do is to retire, because that's the only thing he's been doing all his life. That it's hard for, what are you going to do afterwards? So was it tough for you to...
No. When I came into the National Football League, I signed my contract, I knew that I was on the clock. I knew that it was going to come to an end at some point. And so you start to, this is just me. I started to prepare for life after football when I signed my contract. And quite frankly, I didn't know that I would be able to play for 13 seasons. The average career in the National Football League is 3.4 or 3.6 years. And I was able to beat it and play at a high level. And quite frankly, I know that if I really, 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 really wanted to play more, I could have. But I wanted to kind of
enjoy life.
I wanted to close that chapter of my life and move on to other things. Most guys, when it's over, they show you the door. You look at the fanfare that so many players come into the league, and it's such a big deal. But nobody sees the end when you're walking out of the stadium or practice facility and you're carrying all of your stuff in a garbage bag, and so that's the unglamorous side of the game. And quite frankly, I wanted to leave on a high note when I was ready to go, as opposed to them showing me the door.
Now, did Bill Parcells, how much did he get out of you? Did he take you to that next level, as we always used to hear in sports?
Well, Bill took me to the next level in terms of my ability to play the position of middle linebacker. Bill Belichick also took me to a different level. I had really good coaches. Marty Schottenheimer drafted me. Parcells inherited me. Belichick took me to the next level. But when it was time to go, like I said before, he would say, before anybody else when it's time to go. You can fool people, but you can't fool the guys that you're playing against. And you have to be honest with yourself when, you look at yourself and you ask yourself, I'm not quite as quick on the field, I'm not quite as fast, and I didn't want to be humbled in any way with somebody embarrassing me on the field. So, it was time for me to leave, and I left on my own accord.
I always ask the great ball players this question. Is it true that the game slows down? Could you see openings when you were at your peak?
Yeah.
That you slowed down, it was like in slow motion, you said, oh, I got this.
Yeah. And, that's the thing about Brady. Brady has seen everything there is to see on the football field. And so whenever he's out there, there's nothing that's going to surprise him. When I came into the league, everything was so fast, and as the longer you play, the more it slows down, and you're able to see it and digest it and nothing really surprises you after a period of time. The game at that level is more mental than physical. You know when not to put yourself in hazardous situations that you might get hurt,
Wow.
but you also know what you're seeing on the field, and you're able to play a smarter brand of the game because you've seen everything there is to see.
Now, Harry, one of the things that's always impressed me was after your retirement. I used to see you at a lot of events, community events. It's easy for the athlete to just say, you know what, I got enough dough, man. I'm gonna take it easy. I'm gonna enjoy my life. But you gave back to your community, and a lot of the times I used to see you at the Central Park 5 events.
Yeah.
What got you, into the Central Park 5, the exonerated Central Park
yeah.
5?
I'm happy to have been a giant because one of the things that Wellington Mara enjoyed with his players were they were active in the community of giving back and having an impact on another person's life. And that's one of the things that most people don't think about. An athlete who is well respected can have a profound impact on a young kid just coming along because, listen, I can tell you for a fact, there are kids who I touched years ago when they were kids. Now they're grown-ups, and they'll say, I remember when you did this, and
I'm one of them.
you had an impact on my life, blah, blah, blah. And so it's good to be in a position to give back and make a difference in somebody's life. I mean, that's better than playing football or playing baseball or basketball or whatever. But to have a profound impact on another person's life to help them become like a better player or a better person, that's the thing that gives you or gives me the greatest satisfaction. In terms of the Exonerated 5, there was an organization that George Martin and I helped to create called MAN, Minority Athletes Networking, that started in 1989, right after the Central Park jogger incident. And we became visible because we wanted to have an impact on young people's lives. And I remember the reason why it was created. And people were saying there are no black role models and blah, 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 because of the whole Central Park jogger incident. And that organization was created to have a profound impact because of the Central Park 5. We went to a prison in upstate New York, and there were two of the Central Park jogger guys there. And I remember Yusef Salaam was sitting in the first seat on the first row, and he was sitting there at attention. And I knew who he was, and he was taking it all in. And to be able to stand before him and talk about life was gratifying. Fast forward, they were exonerated. I went to his wedding.
Wow.
We remained friends over the years. And I understand that he's running for city council.
City councilman right now in Harlem.
And I was with them at up in Harlem.
For the gates of the exonerated.
Yeah.
Central Park.
And to me, they're like brothers. They're like little brothers. And I want to, I know how we came together and got to know each other, but to be able to go through this experience with them and to see them being exonerated and to see the impact that they are now having on so many young people.
That's right.
Through their experiences, it's awesome. It's awesome. And talk about having power. I mean, they've got a lot of juice because whatever they say,
That's what
they've
goes.
lived it. They've lived it.
Yep.
So that's how it got started.
We thank you for that.
Yeah.
And now let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Lastly, I'm sure that you know Thurman Munson. You think Thurman Munson belongs in the Hall of Fame?
In my
in
humble
baseball?
opinion, yes.
What-
Yeah. I'm biased because, he's a New York athlete. He's captain. I was the captain of a New York team. And so, I'd love to see him in the Baseball Hall of Fame. I don't know if it's going to happen, but, it's been years and years and years. But
You should know
that's
your weight
one of the. Well, I got a little weight in football, but I don't have a whole lot in baseball.
I'm sure you got a lot of weight in baseball. Listen, Harry, man, it's an honor to be next to you, man, and you don't know how gratifying it is to be next to you, man. And thank you for your time and courtesy,
Oh,
and
it's my
thank you for all
pleasure.
your stuff that you've done for the city of New York.
It's my pleasure.
Be safe, man.
All right.
Yeah.